Today we'll see the code migration. So what is the use of this code migration and where it is being used? What is the advantages of this code migration? This is what is our target to show. So code migration, traditionally communication in distributed system is concerned with exchanging the data between the processes. So the code migration in the broadest sense deals with moving programs between the machines with the intention to have those programs to be executed at the target. In some cases, the execution status of the program pending signals and the other part of the environment must be moved as well. What is a code migration? Code migration terminologies are what? Resource relocations and bindings are what in this, and code migration paradigms are what. This is what we want to know in this. So to know this, the code migration is when the programs are moved from one machine to the another, often moving parts of its execution environment along with it. The intent is for the transferred program to continue execution on the target machine. So it is going to be executed from one to another location, and the target machine will be given the chance to execute. So the code migration is often used for load distribution, reducing the network bandwidth, dynamic customizations, and mobile agents. So the code migration increases the scalability, it improves the performance and provides flexibility. We will gain a more tangible understanding of the code migration when we get to the paradigms selections. Code migration has been around for some times, but traditionally code migrations technologies could not agree on terms. To understand code migration properly, we will go over some standardized terms for code migration as defined by the Fujita. Many code migration technology provides computational environments to support code mobility. Computational environment give applications the ability to move components from one host to the another one. Now code migration terminology is what we use is the code migration component consists of execution units and the resources. Execution unit can be divided into the following: code segments, set of instructions being executed, data segments, reference to external resources, files, printers, devices, execution segment, process state, private data, stack pointers, and the instruction pointers. In the terminology, we see the strong mobility and the weak mobility. Under the strong mobility, it describes as the ability to transfer both the code segment and the execution state. Code segment as well as the execution state of the execution unit from one computational environment to the another computational environment. So both the thing, code segment as well as the execution state also will be moved. Weak mobility, it describes the ability to transfer the code segment but not the execution state. Typically, weak mobility applications have predefined starting positions, for example, Java applets. So the predefined starting position will be given in the Java applets. Strong code mobility is the best characterized by two terms: migration and remote cloning. So what do you mean by this migration and the remote cloning? Under the migration is when an execution unit is suspended and it is transferred from one computational environment to the another one and resumes executions. Remote cloning is the when a copy of a running execution unit is copied to the another computational environment while continuing execution on the original executional environments. Sender initiated proactive migrations. It transfer in initiated autonomously by the migrating execution unit, for example, uploading the program to the computational servers. Receivers initiated reactive migrations. Transfer is initiated by an execution unit different from the migration execution unit. For example, Java applets are downloaded from a web server to the client browser at the request of the browser. Resource relocations and binding reconfigurations. When an execution unit migrates, the data space needs to be reconfigured. This could involve rebinding or moving resources depending on the type of resources. Resource relocations and binding configurations. Type of resources. Transferable. This type of resources can be transferred from one machine to the another. Free or fixed. Free resources can be easily moved from one machine to the another machine. For example, data files. Fixed resources can be moved but not easily. For example, moving a database can be moved but could slow performance. Non-transferable. It is not possible to move these resources. For example, a local device such as printers. Three types of bindings are there. So, the binding by identifiers strongest. Execution unit refers to resources by unique identifiers. Binding by value weakest. Execution unit refers to resources based on the value content of resources and what local access to this type of resources. Binding by type weakest. Execution unit refers a resource of given type, often local devices. Binding by identifiers, free transferable resources. It is the best to move this type of resources with the execution unit. Otherwise, the resource stays in original computational environment and the execution unit will refer to the resources by the network reference. Network references are the least desirable because the execution unit will be slowed due to network problems. Fixed, transferable and non-transferable resources will need to use our network references. Binding by values. Free transferable resources can copy or move the resources from one computational environment to the another. Moving the resources may cause problem if other execution units are access the resources. Network references can be used, but again this is least desirable. Fixed transferable resources can be copied or use network reference. Non-transferable can use network reference. Binding by type. Best to use rebinding. Rebinding involves the execution unit removing the original bindings, moving to a new computational environment and binding to the same type of resources in the new computational environment. Client server paradigm. The server component know how to perform a particular service. The client component at location A requests execution of the service from the server component at location B. The server component executes the request and returns the result to the client components. Remote evaluation paradigm. On software component knows how to perform a particular service but does not know the resource to do so. The software component A sends the code component to perform the service to another software component B and has access to the necessary resources. Software component B performs execution the code component and returns the result to software component A. Code on demand. If you see, the software component A has access to the resource at its location but does not know how to interact with the resources. Software component A requests a code component from software component B. Software component B sends the code to A and A executes the code component. Now, in the mobile agents, software component A knows how to perform a particular service but does not have the necessary resources. To access the resources, A becomes a mobile agent by migrating the entire computational environment, state code, resources to another locations that has the necessary resources. The mobile agent executes access the resource at the new location and executes the service code components. So basically we have seen here the code migration, how it is benefited, and due to this code migration what is the different benefits that we are going to get in this. So mainly it will going to deal with the strong mobility and the weak mobility. It will going to provide you the structure in which the system will going to function in a very boosted way, and the system will going to perform very efficiently, and there will be a load balancing, and the flexibility in the programming will be there. It will going to increase the scalability. So this is all about the code migration.